Hello, my name is Mike Prom, and in this video we'll be taking a look at some of the tech tips from our recent AMA classes. Tech tip number 1, challenge. I need a part similar to one that's found in Content Center with some modifications. This is very common with our customers where we need to add something to our Content Center, but we don't want to start from scratch. To start off with, we're going to open a part from Content Center. What this allows us to do is save a copy of this part so that we can make modifications. Simply browse to your component. In this case, I'm doing a fastener, but you could do this with any other component, a shaft part, structural steel shape. Select the size that you want to make a change to, and then come in and save this as a copy. Again, standard parts from Content Center you cannot modify, so you must save them as a copy in order to make any changes to them. Once you've saved a new part, just open it up and make some changes to it. Now, in this case, what I'm going to do is just add a sketch to my component. The sketch is going to be in the shape of an Allen wrench. Sometimes you need to change the head size. There might be an extra washer on there, whatever it may be. Again, in this case, I just added a sketch and want to remove some material so an Allen wrench can be in the center of this bolt. Now, once I have this completed, I can now authorize this and publish it to my Content Center. And this is really where the advantage of reusing information from Content Center pays off. First step you see here is the author component. And once I'm in my author component, what we're going to see is the mapping for the insertion. And then also once we select our parameter mapping, that's already done. So by reusing a component from Content Center, all my mapping is already complete. Now if I had started that from scratch, I'd actually have to go in and select my components to map. You can see here, once we've authored, we can jump into the publish, and then in the publishing, again, the family columns are mapped. This is the same information we saw in the authoring. Here are our parameters, and that's how we'd step through the process if it wasn't already done for us. The next step here, we can select our different columns. So when I selected this bolt initially, we had the size, the length, and then if it was coarse or fine thread. What you select here in your table columns is what actually appears when you insert the bolt. So this is where you can decide what you want to be inserting your component with what different parameters. Next step of the process is just going to be go into the different names of the properties. Select whatever you may, and the big thing with this is it allows you to search for the proper component. So the name is big important in that, and then also some of the standard organizations allows you to do some different filtering and searching. Just hit publish, and that completes the step. Now our next tech tip is a motion assembly to see if components are actually going to hit each other. The idea behind this is I have an assembly, I haven't quite got to the level where I want to do some actual dynamic simulation, but I want to see if it's going to function properly. Now in this case, I have a sawhorse with some adjustable legs, and I want to make sure that they're going to adjust properly. So I just remove my mate constraint in it. Notice that I can actually go through the other components. So I'm going to select my active contact solver. Now, once I select that, I actually then have to go in and select the components that I want to be in my active content center. And you can see once I right click on the component, I get the option to contact set, and I select the different components that I want to see if they hit each other. So once I select all my different components, we'll notice when I come in and I grab the leg and drag it around, it's not actually going to move through the component once it hits the upper housing assembly, or when I drag it down and it hits the bolt, it's actually going to stop. So as I drag it here, you can see it stops. Drag it down, it's going to stop in both directions. So I can simulate how this is going to function without actually going into a dynamic simulation mode. For our next step, we're going to take a look at, I'd like my part number to actually show up on my part. So the big trick here is going to be actually using some of our emboss tools along with text capabilities inside of a sketch. First thing here, I'm just going to open up my part and apply a simple sketch. Once I'm in my sketch mode, I can insert a text. In this case, you want to be able to change what style and also the size of the text. Notice I'm able to drag around and move it. I could actually lock this down with dimensions as well. Now, another type of text is I can actually have text follow geometry. In this case, I'm going to make an arc and then change my text selection to geometry text. Now, just like the word Ketiv, I just enter in the text I want to use. We can see here the font style and also the size I can change if I'd like. Once that's complete, notice how it actually follows the geometry. Now, once I've completed my sketch, I can then come in and use that emboss tool. Select the geometry that we want to emboss. We can select the depth, and if we want to emboss, or flip the direction and engrave it. Now, that sketch contained two different text features, so if I select the sketch again and select visibility, I can actually turn that back on to reuse that sketch. So that's also kind of a side tip there, where if you have multiple sketches inside one sketch or multiple geometry, to reuse it, you just turn that sketch back on. I engraved it there, and then I turn off the visibility, and we can see that my word and my text is now engraved in that part. This concludes our tech tip. If you have any more questions, please look at our website, www.ketiv.com, to look at any more further tech tips. Thank you.